In aviation, safety is the foundation we all rely on. We trust the pilots, the crew, the airline, and the manufacturers. But what happens when that trust is shaken by a hidden flaw in one of the world's most advanced aircraft? The FAA, the agency responsible for our skies, has quietly issued a warning about the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. This isn't a routine notice. It's a silent alarm about a potentially catastrophic defect. The warning came not with headlines, but as a technical airworthiness directive. It describes a scenario where pilots could suddenly lose control of the plane's most critical flight surfaces, without warning. Not due to weather or pilot error, but because of a defect buried deep in the aircraft's systems. Over 1,000 Dreamliners are in service, carrying millions of passengers each year. Yet, the public has heard almost nothing about this urgent safety issue. Why isn't this a bigger story? The silence is unsettling, forcing us to question what else we don't know. The implications are staggering, a fatal flaw in a cornerstone of modern travel. It's time to pull back the curtain and examine what the FAA found, why it's so dangerous, and what's being done to protect us. The story starts with a silent alarm, one that demands our attention. So, what's the flaw? It centers on pressure-operated shutoff valves, small components that control the hydraulic fluid powering the plane's rudder and elevators. These valves are supposed to shut off pressure if there's a leak, protecting the aircraft. But the FAA found that a tiny internal part, the poppet, can wear out much faster than expected. When it fails, the valve can get stuck closed, blocking hydraulic fluid even if the system is fine. The result? Pilots could lose control of the rudder or elevators with no warning. This isn't a software glitch. It's a mechanical failure waiting to happen. The degradation is caused by constant pressure pulses, slowly wearing down the valve. The valve might work for thousands of flights, but eventually it fails, silently. What's alarming is that the Dreamliner's redundant systems could all be affected by this same flaw. In a worst-case scenario, multiple systems could fail in rapid succession. The very safety feature meant to protect the plane could become the source of disaster. Pilots would be left fighting for control, with the aircraft actively resisting their inputs. It's a hidden danger, buried deep in the Dreamliner's mechanical heart. The FAA's directive makes it clear. This is not a theoretical risk. The flaw turns a safeguard into a potential catastrophe, and it's present in every Boeing 787 flying today. Why is a stuck valve so dangerous? It's all about controllability. The rudder and elevators are essential. Without them, pilots can't steer or land safely. Imagine a Dreamliner on final approach. Suddenly, the rudder freezes. The plane drifts off course. The pilot's controls do nothing. There's no time for troubleshooting. The loss of control could lead to a crash landing, or worse. The FAA stated plainly, this failure could result in loss of control of the airplane. The danger is latent. The valve can degrade undetected, passing all pre-flight checks. No warning lights, no alerts, until it's too late. One moment, everything works. The next, the controls are useless. The risk isn't just theoretical. The FAA calculated the probability was unacceptably high. Without action, it wasn't a matter of if, but when. This is a systemic design flaw affecting every 787 in the sky. The potential for tragedy is very real. It's not just about one faulty part. It's about a vulnerability in the entire fleet. The clock was ticking with every flight. The FAA's directive was a race against disaster. The world just didn't know it. The FAA responded quickly, but quietly. On May 28, 2024, it issued an urgent airworthiness directive, ordering airlines to inspect and replace the faulty valves within 30 days. This was not a suggestion. It was a legally binding command. The directive bypassed the usual public comment period, signaling imminent danger. Airlines had to ground planes, order new parts, and schedule repairs fast. Over 1,000 Dreamliners worldwide were affected. Yet there was no press conference, no public warning. The FAA communicated directly with airlines and Boeing, keeping the public largely in the dark. The mandate was clear within the industry, but invisible to most travelers. For Boeing, this was another blow to its reputation, already battered by the 737 MAX disasters. Now the Dreamliner faced a fundamental design flaw. Boeing acted quickly, developing redesigned valve components and issuing service bulletins to airlines. The company insisted the fleet was safe, citing system redundancies. But how was this flaw missed in the first place? The discovery raises tough questions about Boeing's engineering and oversight. Fixing the part isn't enough. Boeing must prove it's changed its approach to safety. The burden is on Boeing to restore trust in its name. For millions flying on the 787, this news is unsettling. Passengers assume their plane is safe, unaware of a hidden defect that could make it uncontrollable. Pilots are trained for emergencies, but a total loss of flight controls leaves few options. The risk is real until every Dreamliner is repaired. Repairs are happening, but not all planes are fixed yet. Passengers have no way of knowing if their aircraft is safe. The psychological impact, if widely known, could shake confidence in air travel. Airlines and manufacturers know that public perception is crucial. Until every 787 is fixed, a small but real risk remains. The unseen danger flies with every passenger on an unrepaired plane. Given the severity, why isn't this front-page news? The technical nature of the problem makes it hard for the media to explain. The FAA and Boeing handled it quietly, keeping the issue in-house. No public spectacle, no dramatic hearings, just a controlled response. Economic interests also play a role. Negative stories can impact stock prices and bookings. The narrative that the system is working is less disruptive, even if it hides the alarming truth. The silence is as much a part of the story as the flaw itself. The story isn't over. The first priority is to complete all mandated repairs, no exceptions. Regulators must ensure strict compliance. There's no room for shortcuts. Boeing must investigate how this flaw slipped through and share clear answers. The industry must learn from this to prevent future mistakes. Transparency is crucial. The public deserves to know about urgent safety issues. A better system for informing travelers is needed without causing panic. This incident proves why strong, independent regulators are essential. As aircraft become more complex, oversight must keep pace. The FAA's role is vital. They are the last line of defense. We must support and strengthen these agencies to keep our skies safe. The Dreamliner's hidden flaw is a wake-up call. Even the most advanced machines need constant vigilance. The quiet handling of this crisis raises questions about transparency and trust. The system worked, this time, but the silence is a problem. We must demand more openness from manufacturers, airlines, and the media. An informed public is a safer public. Your safety is the result of relentless engineering and oversight. The FAA's directive is proof the safety net is working, but also shows where it's thin. Trust is the invisible currency of air travel. It must be earned and protected. We cannot afford to ignore this wake-up call. The stakes are simply too high.